Come in, Vine said without looking up, her eyes scanning the file in her hands. The door opened. She glanced toward the entrance and paused. A young man stood there, hesitant, shoulders slightly hunched if he wasn't sure whether he was allowed to take up space. He looked ordinary, tired, too young to carry the weight visible in his eyes. She set the file aside and straightened. Come in, she repeated, softer this time. Have a seat. She gestured to the chair across from her desk. He hesitated for a brief second before moving forward, his step cautious. When he finally sat down, he perched on the edge of the chair, hands clasped tightly in his lap, eyes flicking around the room before settling anywhere but on her. She noticed the stiffness in his posture and the way his fingers stuck into his palms. Don't worry, she said lightly, lifting her gaze to meet his. Be comfortable. I won't eat you. The tension in the room eased almost imperceptibly. For the first time since he walked in, he looked at her just for a moment, but it was enough. So, what made you decide to come in today? She asked, her focus settling on him as she spun the pan between her fingers. Jungkook swallowed, his throat popping. I have been struggling to sleep, he said quietly. I get nightmares. I try to sleep, but I can't. His knuckles tightened around each other, turning white. And did you first notice something wasn't right? She asked, calm and attentive. It's been years, he replied. The nightmares have been there for years. She paused, pen hovering above the notepad. And what made you seek help now? She asked, not accusing, just curious. He hesitated. You mentioned trouble sleeping. She continued gently. What usually happens when you try to sleep? He took a shaky breath. I closed my eyes and his voice faltered. I feel like someone's there, like someone's going to hurt me. His fingers stuck into his palms. I get anxious. My chest feels tight. Her expressions didn't change, but her grip on the pen loosened. Do the dreams feel familiar? She asked softly. Or do they change? Familiar, he said immediately. All of them. His breathing had sped up now, sweat beading at his temples, his body betraying what his words tried to keep contained. She noticed everything, and she didn't rush him. She paused, realizing something, and let out a quiet breath. I'm sorry, she said, setting the pen down. I didn't even ask your name. He looked up, startled for a second. Jungkook, he replied after a beat. Jeon Jungkook. She nodded, writing it down. I'm Dr. Wine, she said calmly. You can call me Wine. The room felt a little less intimidating after that. All right, Jungkook, she continued, meeting his gaze again. Let's go back. You were telling me about the dreams. He nodded, but his body betrayed him. His hands began to tremble, subtle at first, then more noticeably. His breath turning shallow, his gaze dropped to the floor as if grounding himself had suddenly become too difficult. Vine noticed immediately. She rose from her chair, slow and unhurried, careful not to startle him, and moved to the seat beside him, leaving a respectful distance between them. It's okay, she said quietly. You are safe here. She didn't touch him, didn't crowd him. Focus on my voice, she continued, calm and steady. Take a slow breath in and let it out. She watched his shoulders, waiting for them to ease. You are not in the dream right now, she added gently. You are here with me. Jungkook, she called out softly as he turned his head to her. Breathe. She looks at with him. Jungkook barely nodded, his gaze still fixed on her. She picked up her notepad and began writing. I'm prescribing a few tests first, along with some medicines, she said calmly. She tore the paper neatly and handed it to him. Medical store, ground floor, on the right, she added. He nodded once more and stood up to leave. I hope I will be seeing you regularly now, she said, adjusting her glasses as she returned to her seat. It's necessary. Okay, he said quietly as he walked out, the door closing behind him with a soft thud. She let out a sigh, dialed her assistant asking for a coffee. Next morning. No, don't, please don't. No, no, please. Jungkook was sweating heavily. His words come out like please, like begging, and with that he jolted awake, panting. It had become a daily thing now, waking up to the same nightmare, the same dream every single time. He looked down at himself. His t-shirt was completely drenched in sweat. He pushed his hair back with a shaky hand and sighed. Getting out of bed, he glanced at the clock. 5:10 a.m. Shit. He hurried to the washroom, desperate to get rid of the sweat clinging to him. cold water, deep breaths, silence. After a while, he made his way to the kitchen and opened the fridge. Vegetables almost finished. He took them out, washed them, carefully make sure they are clean, then slowly began chopping them. The rhythmic sound of the night grounding him, trying to keep the memories away. After finishing breakfast, and packing the lunch, he went to the other room. His apartment wasn't fancy or luxurious, it was enough to live in. Two rooms, a small living room, and a kitchen. He opened the door slowly, not to make a sound, only to find his younger sister was still asleep. He walked toward her slowly with a soft smile and sat beside her and gently called out, "Yoo-Mi, wake up." She groaned softly and turned to the other side. "Let me sleep a little more. Yoo-Mi, you know your school starts at 8 and it's already 6." He said softly, trying again. "Please get up. I will give you something." Yoo-Mi quickly sat up, eyes lighting up with excitement. "What?" Jungkook chuckled and started tickling her lightly. "First, get up, my naughty princess," he teased. She pouted, trying to hide a smile as he gently shooed her toward the washroom. He glanced around the messy room and groaned, "Yeah, Yumi, run clean this. You messed it up again." From the bathroom, she yelled back, "Sorry." He let out a sigh and started cleaning. He packed her school bag, arranged all the things scattered across the table, and straightened her bed, already used to doing it all for her. She came out in her school dress and looked at him. "Oppa, my hair, please tie it for me." Jungkook took the comb from her table and sat on the bed, pulling her gently onto his lap. He began tying her hair carefully, his movements soft and practiced. After finishing her hair, he gently turned her face toward him. He looked at her neatly tied hair, then at her face, and pressed a soft kiss to her chubby cheeks. "Yumi, if anyone ever says anything to you, come and tell me," he said gently. "I will handle it, okay?" Yumi nodded and said softly. Jungkook smiled from the heart and replied, "Now eat your pig first," he said gently. "Then we have to go, right?" Wan was eating her breakfast while talking to her father. "Yes, Dad, I will take care," she said gently, "and please remember to take your medicines too." After finishing her food, she placed the plate in the sink. Wan's father, Kang Ha-jun, had lost his wife when he was 29. Wan had only been 6 then, his only child, the living symbol of the love he had shared with his wife. After her, Wan was his whole world. Wan picked up her bag and case, ready to leave. She looked back to see her father standing by the door, watching her with quiet admiration and love in his eyes. She smiled and waved at him. He waved back, the same warmth lingering between them. She started a car and drove off. As she drove, her kept referring to the young man she had met yesterday, the association in his eyes, the quiet loneliness he carried. She sighed softly. She had helped many patients before, both personally and professionally, but something about him stayed with her. She quickly picked up her phone and dialed her assistant. "I want every detail about that patient, Jeon Jungkook." She got the call and focused back on the road. "Do I know you, Jeon?" she murmured to herself. And if you are someone who loves Indian books, make sure to check out my Wattpad and read my story too. Thank you.